Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and I am so excited about today's video. It is a collab with some of my booktube friends and I love all of these creators. Please, if you're not following them, go follow them because they make amazing content. It is Caitlin from The Love Librarian, Kerry from Booked for Romance, Christi from Christi Reads a Lot, and Nicki from Nicki and Bookland. They will all have the same video up today and I'm so excited to see what they have to say because the video that we're doing today is top book boyfriends of 2022. I read a lot of books. I have read a lot of books in 2022, over 350 books in 2022, and I had a hard time narrowing this down. I did come to a list of 10. That's what we're going with, top 10 book boyfriends of 2022. However, they are not in order. I could not choose a top one. That's not going to happen. I just have 10 to share with you, okay? So that's what we're doing. I'm really excited. Let's get into the video. So the first one that I have that I had to put on here, Clay Johnson from Blindside by Candy Steiner. This man is amazing. He made this book. He made this book. Like, Candy Steiner can write a hero. She does a really good job writing her heroes, and I love all of the heroes in this series, but Clay is far superior to the other ones. Like, wow, he's amazing. This book is a fake dating sex lessons romance. So Clay is on the football team and his girlfriend recently broke up with him and he wants to make her jealous. And so there's this PR assistant for the team named Gianna and she has a crush on this other guy, and Clay comes up with this idea and is like, hey Gianna, if we fake date, both of the people that we actually want to be with would be jealous and then we could get with them. And Gianna's like apprehensive about it, but she decides to agree until Clay finds out that Gianna is a virgin and incredibly unexperienced in everything. And Clay's like, let me help you out with that. And so they have like a sex lessons type of situation, which is one of my all-time favorite tropes. I love it so, so much. And Clay reads Gianna's favorite romance novels. Gianna is a big romance reader, and Clay reads the romance books that she loves, especially the parts that she's like highlighted and annotated that are like her favorite parts, to figure out what she'll like in the bedroom. And it's just sexy. It's amazing. He is heartwarming and adorable and sexy and amazing, and I loved him and he had to be on this list. The next one is another one you shouldn't be surprised because I talk about him a lot, and that's Evan Bailey from Unraveling Him by Claire Kingsley. So this is book 3 in the Bailey Brothers series. You do not have to read them in order. Like, you don't have to read the first 2 in order to read this one. I read this one first. The only one that you have to read in order is the last book in the series, which is Levi's book. So you could totally read this one first, like I did. You should. Evan is amazing. So this book is a grumpy sunshine romance. Evan is a grumpy, sort of reclusive hero. Like, he's like very gives off like don't come near me vibes, like I don't want to socialize vibes. And he meets this woman who, basically this woman's life has gone to shit. What is her name? Fiona. Fiona's life has gone to shit, and her car broke down and she makes it to Evan's garage. Evan is a mechanic, and she makes it to his garage, and she knows that Evan needs to find an old car that he can restore for this competition. And Fiona has access to a person who has this really old car that he's looking to sell. And so Fiona makes a deal with Evan like, hey, I'll help you get that car that you want, that you need, if you let me use your garage for free to fix my car. And Evan cannot say no as much as he wants to because Fiona is like sunshiny and happy and just like all up in his space. But he agrees because he really needs this car. And so they go on like a little road trip moment in order to go pick up that car, and they're stuck in the car together and it's the two of them, and he just can't like escape and like get away from her, and she very much breaks down his walls and shows that like ooey gooey center inside, but only for her. This is like very much definition of like grumpy, except with her. Like everyone else, he's still grumpy, but he so softens for her and he shows how much he loves her and how cute they are. It's very forced proximity type romance. They do end up having to like live together also for a while, and it's so cute. I love Evan so much. He's like one of my favorite grumpy heroes, so had to go on this list. Okay, so the next one, the third one that I have, is one that I'm not going to be able to talk a whole bunch about because it is actually book 2 in a series, which is sort of cheating, but since I read book 1 in 2020, but I didn't love him to this extent until I read this book, and that is Crescent City Book 2, House of Sky and Breath, Ruhn Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae. I liked Ruhn in book 1, like he was cool, he was a cool character. Ruhn in this book, hello, I was so into it. He was probably my favorite character in this book. Is that true? Probably. I loved his storyline. I loved everything about him. He is so cool. You get to see like a more sexy side of him. He gets a romance type situation in this book, which I was loving him as like a romance hero. And I can't say a whole bunch about it because this is book 2 and Sarah J. Maas has like aggressive spoilers and everything. So I don't want to like say too much about him, but holy shit, Ruhn Dannon. I like him better than Hunt. Like, I care more about Ruhn than Hunt. And if something happens to Ruhn in the next book in this series, I'm going to be so pissed off. He better be safe. He better be safe because I love him so, so, so much. And I need him to be happy. I need him to be in that, like, romance that he wants. He deserves the world. I love him so much. Okay, next one is another one. You shouldn't be surprised. I've talked about this book a lot, and that is Broken Vow by Sophie Lark and RaeLynn. What is RaeLynn's last name? I don't know what RaeLynn's last name is. I can't remember what RaeLynn's last name is. I'm really, really sorry, but I love him. He is such a good hero. This one, he is actually the sunshine character in this book, which I loved. I love a grumpy heroine and a sunshiny hero. I love Riona in this book also. She is me. Riona is me. I connected so much with Riona. I love those gruff heroines. They've got lots of walls. They are like prickly. Oftentimes people think they're bitchy. I relate to those characters. Those characters are me. And having RaeLynn and his softness and his sexiness and his sweetness and the like determination that he has to get through Riona's shell, everything. And it just is so, so hot. His determination, his love for her, it's amazing. Especially because this book is a bodyguard romance and he has to protect her while she's in danger, and she's like not really want to, but then like starts to get scared and gets that like vulnerability that she has to share. Amazing. Also, I'm not big on remembering sex scenes. That never happens to me, but the barn scene sticks in my head. He had to be on this list. Okay, so the next one that I have, a little bit of a wild card because it's Lucas from the Hades series by Tate James. Lucas is a virgin hero at first in the Hades series. He's also 18 years old. And I don't usually like younger men, but I loved Lucas. The Hades series by Tate James is actually a why choose romance. It's reverse harem, and it's about a woman named Hades who is the gang leader, and there's like gang wars going on, but Hades is the gang leader for the Timberwolves gang, I think is what their gang's called, and she ends up having a why choose romance with 3 men. One of them is a friends to lovers romance, one of them is an age gap romance, and the third one is a older woman, younger man, virgin hero romance, and that's Lucas. And Lucas is my favorite. I loved him. I'm not usually one, like I love why choose romances, but I'm not usually one to be like one guy over the others. That doesn't usually happen to me. In Why Choose Romances, I tend to like them all equally, which I think is the point of Why Choose Romances, is that you like have, they're all such amazing heroes that you want to be with all of them. But in this one, Lucas was like superior to the other men. He was the best part of this book, and he was also just like so cool with everything. He was so perfect for Hades because she was had to be so hardcore all the time and so stressed and uptight a lot because she's the leader of a gang, and that like she has a lot of responsibilities. And Lucas was so perfect for her because he was like, whatever you need, honey, kind of hero. He was just like always there to be whatever she needed, be whoever she needed, do whatever she needed doing. And he was like perfect for her. And he loved her so much. He was like worshipped her. And it was so, so good that he was this like softness that she needed. And within the Why Choose, within the harem, he was so down for everything. He was like, yeah, as long as I get to be with Hades, I don't care. He was like, oh, you want to invite them in? Sure, let's do that. He was just like unlike any other Why Choose hero that I've seen before, and I loved him. And he made this book so much better. He was such a good hero. Then the next one that I have is Pierce Sullivan from The Brazen by Willa Nash, aka Devney Perry. This one is part of her Calamity Montana series, and Pierce Sullivan is a billionaire hero, and he was just perfect. I love a billionaire hero. There's just something about him, something about those billionaires that like really get you. And Kerrigan in this book, the heroine, is she's very determined. That's a good word for Kerrigan. She's very determined. She has a lot of plans. And when Pierce comes to town to crush her plans, she is not having it, and she very much fights back. And Pierce is there for the fight. He's very like businessman-like. But then when you realize some of the things that Pierce has had in his life, like struggles and things that he's had, he softens and he becomes so great. And I loved him, and he and Kerrigan were so good together. There's a forced proximity element to this book. They get snowed in together, and I think that was the best thing for their relationship. It was such a good way for the two of them to have to actually like talk to each other and get their relationship to be so strong and amazing, because Pierce actually was able to like talk to her about, hey, these are the things, this is what's happened to me recently, this is why I am the way that I am. And she just thought he was this like asshole businessman, but when he really like talks to her about his life, you like really realize, hey, I probably would be a bit of an asshole too if that was my situation. And I loved him. I loved him. And I'm a sucker for a billionaire. Then I have Gareth Blackwater. Actually, I have a copy of this one. From Always Practice Save Hex by Juliet Cross. This book is part of the Stay a Spell series by Juliet Cross. I think it's book 4. Yeah, 4. And I had been waiting for through all the other books. As soon as Grimms were mentioned, I was waiting for a Grimm. I was like, I need a Grimm hero. That's who I need. What's going on? What's a Grimm? All we knew going into this book was that Grimms were these like dark, dangerous vibed figures kind of people. And I was like, dark, dangerous? I'm here for it. What's the situation? And so Gareth in this book is our first Grimm hero that we get. And he gives us more of an insight on Grimms, and they were just as dark, dangerous, and sexy as I wanted them to be. And he has not really enemies to lovers, but like those kind of vibes where they're like rivals. They're competing against each other in a competition with Livy, the heroine, Livy Savoy. And Livy is she's very similar to Kerrigan. She's very determined. She knows that she has these good ideas. She knows what she wants. And she goes into this competition being like, I'm going to be great at this. And then Gareth is there. And Gareth is like, well, my ideas are better than yours, and these are the situations that are actually gonna happen. He like takes charge, and he's so sexy while doing it. Like, he's very broody and stoic, and which I love. I usually do love that, but there's something about him that he very much, you can't help but love him. And he made this book so good, and his relationship with Livy when they finally get together, I was so into it. I was so into it, and he was just such a good hero, and I loved him. Loved him. The audiobook of this one was so good. Then the next one that I have is Canon from Real. I had to include Canon. There's no way I could have this list without putting Canon on it, because his relationship with Neva, his love for Neva, was everything. Everything. So this book is a director and actress romance. It's forbidden. And Canon is the director, and he casts Neva in his movie about this woman named Desi Blue. And it's a movie where he's telling the story, this lost story of this woman who had a very strong impact on like Black music and Black history in Harlem, and she is not somebody who's remembered, even though she had like a strong impact on culture. And he wants to tell these lost stories from history that deserve to have their space in history. These people who deserve to have their space in history but are forgotten oftentimes just because they're Black. And he wants to tell those stories, and he casts Neva as the actress who played Desi Blue in the movie. And they can't help but fall for each other, even though they shouldn't, because Canon is the director, and he had a past where he had a relationship with one of his actresses and it did not work out, and so he very much shouldn't be with Neva, or that's what everyone tells him, but he can't help it, she can't help it, and the relationship that they have is beautiful. The way that Canon describes her and his love for her, he constantly throughout the books, there's this like reoccurring theme of him talking about her light. She has this light, and the energy in which he talks about her, the passion in which he talks about her is so beautiful, and it's so heartwarming, and it's the kind of hero where I'm like, wow. And she has a chronic illness, Neva has a chronic illness, and it's this very intense chronic illness, and there are very strong depictions in this book about her struggling with that chronic illness. And the way that Canon talks about her, the way he talks about her illness, the way he talks about life with her illness is beautiful. Like, those were the scenes that brought me to tears in this book. It was not her like struggling with her illness, although that was very impactful to me as somebody who also struggles with a chronic illness, but the way that he talked about her and her illness was so stunning and so perfect and beautiful, and I loved it so much. Okay, then the next one that I have is from a book that I actually read super recently, and I am obsessed with this hero, and that is Beckett Porter from In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. The hero in this book, Beckett, oh my god, I was obsessed with him. I'm currently obsessed with him. He is the absolute cinnamon roll hero. He was so cute and sweet. He was a character who very much got overwhelmed with like a lot of sensations. So he had like, I would almost guess that he had some neurodivergent qualities, or was neurodivergent, because of the way that he talked about, he had very, he struggled in social situations, he had social anxiety, he had a hard time with loud noises, and like just being like coming like very overwhelmed and kind of like inverting into himself when he's in those situations. And he is a hero who had sisters. I love a hero who has sisters. I just love the way that they know how to treat women when they have sisters. And his sisters, he has 3 sisters, I think. And his sisters, he protected them, and they also protected him, which I really loved, because there's this scene where he talks about how he got bullied in school and his sisters were the ones that came to his defense, which I just loved so much. He had such a strong family connection. He was so close with his family, which I really loved and appreciated appreciated. His father was paralyzed when he was in high school, and without even like blinking an eye, Beckett took over his father's position in order to support his family, and the like dedication to his family in order to do that was just so admirable, and I just loved that. He also had like a complete and utter soft spot for animals, and he adopted a bunch of kittens that he found on the farm that he works on. And so he had like 5 kittens in his house, and there were so many scenes of him in bed with like kittens all over him, or like cuddling with the kittens, which was so cute. And then in like right in the beginning of the book, there's this one scene where they find this abandoned baby duck, and he's just like repeating over and over in his head, he's like, I will not adopt this duck, I will not adopt this duck. And then because the duck is gonna be all alone, he's like, I have a duck now. And he just could not say no to it, because he was such a sweetheart and such like a lover of like, he needed to protect them, and it was so cute. It was so cute. He very much was such a cinnamon roll hero. He gave me Wren Bergman vibes from the Bergman Brothers series from Always Only You. And Wren Bergman is probably one of my top 5 book boyfriends ever. So the fact that he even reached Wren was like amazing to me. It was so good. And then his relationship with the heroine was also so cute, and I loved him so freaking much. He had to go on this list. I'm so happy that I finished this book before making this list. Then the last one that I have is Maverick Waters from Bittersweet Heart. This is another one that surprised me, because the hero in this book is also younger than me. And like I said with Lucas, I don't usually like the younger men. I tend to like the older men. But Maverick in this book is a senior in college. He's 22, I guess. And my favorite thing about Maverick, or I guess I'll tell you what the book's about first. So in this book, this is a student-teacher romance. It's an older woman, younger man romance, which I guess this fits with like him being on my list and me being older than him. But it is an older woman, younger man student-teacher romance. He has a one-night stand with a woman during the break between the first semester and second semester of his senior year. And then when he comes back to school for his second semester of his senior year, he walks into class, and the teacher of this new class is the woman that he had this one-night stand with. And one of my favorite things about Maverick, probably my favorite thing about Maverick, is the way that he treats women. His protection, his dedication towards women, and making sure that women feel comfortable around him. He is very troubled from his past. He struggles a lot because when he was younger, his younger sister was kidnapped, and he feels responsible, but he also saw the outcome that his sister had from how this man who kidnapped her treated her, the aftermath of everything, and how his sister struggles with anxiety and panic attacks and all this stuff. And he, after that, became very aware of the way that men interact with women and the way that a man can come across as making a woman afraid of them. And he never wants that to happen to him. He never wants to be somebody who scares women. And so he, with this older woman, she has a previous relationship. Her ex-husband was abusive, and he is so protective of her and so angry at her ex-husband for being able to hurt her and for wanting to hurt her and for just like treating her the way that she did. He runs a self-defense class for women at his gym, which I just loved, and it was just probably my absolute favorite thing about him. It was just so sweet. He also, because of the way that he reacted after his sister was kidnapped, from the way that he grew with it, he was very mature for his age. And so that even though he was only 22, he definitely acted and had the maturity level of someone who's a lot older. And I really appreciated that. Like, he knew how to have fun with college, but also knew that it was always to a point, and that like he didn't want to exceed anything. And I just really liked him, and he really stuck out to me. And it was just a very surprising one, which I think is how he made this list. It was just so surprising about this book. I also think that if you like Tattered Stars by Catherine Cowles, the hero in that book, Hayes, is very similar to Maverick in the sense that their younger sisters were kidnapped, they feel responsible, that kind of thing. So if you like Tattered Stars, I would try Bittersweet Heart because it has the same sort of like vibe. But that was the last one. That was number 10. That was all of the heroes that I'm going to talk about in this video. I read some amazing heroes this year and I am just so happy with my list. I would be happy in a relationship with any of these heroes. Okay. But that is going to be it for this video. Please like this video if you liked it. Please make sure that you go and watch all of my friends' videos, the collabs. I will link all of their channels and their videos down in my description box, so please go watch them. But that is going to be it, so please subscribe and stick around so you can see more content from me, and I hope that you have a great day. Bye!